What's up, y'all? Um, as you all know, that Louisville, Kentucky is just under siege right now. There's a couple of other cities, like Los Angeles. They were pretty peaceful last night. They tried to shut down the 110, and the LAPD shut that down. New York, they were peaceful protests, which is what you're supposed to do. God bless them. That's your constitutional right. You should protest. And all this is because of the verdict that came in from the grand jury about Breonna Taylor. Well, one officer was indicted, but he wasn't indicted for murder. It was basically for shooting into the apartment next door or behind the apartment of Breonna Taylor's. The two other officers were not indicted. Their shooting was marked as justifiable. The boyfriend of Breonna Taylor shot first. So for those that don't know the whole story, and I'm sure everybody knows the full story, but there's going to be a part of the story that you're being told. And then if you research and you read, there's a part of the story that you actually find out. So everybody was told in the very beginning. And I was like, wow, I used to always say this, like Breonna Taylor, they just, no knock warrant, kicked in the door. They were asleep, blazed in there, guns drawn, shoot, 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 kill, kill, kill. That wasn't the whole story. So apparently through corroborating witnesses that weren't involved in this case, these are third-party witnesses that were in the complex, the police did knock, even though it was a no-knock warrant. The police announced themselves, even though they didn't have to because it was a no-knock warrant. And when they entered the place by nobody answering the door, and then at that point they breached the door, the boyfriend and Breonna were standing in a hallway and the boyfriend shot. Now the boyfriend said that he shot at them because he thought it was a drug dealer coming to collect. That's his words, not I didn't know who it was or I was scared of everything else. He thought it was another drug dealer who was coming to collect the money from him. And he may have been short. I don't know what it is. But that is the story that was given. Now, they were standing in the hallway. They weren't lying in bed, the way things are being shown through evidence. And she lost her life due to her boyfriend shooting at the police, which is tragic. I hate to hear about anybody young dying. But if you are in that lifestyle or you're around that lifestyle, not necessarily saying that she was doing it, but if you're, I hate to use the term guilty by association, but if you're, my mama used to always say an old thing, if you lay down with dogs, you're going to get up with fleas. So she wasn't a drug dealer, her boyfriend was, but she was involved in that lifestyle through him. So when you're involved in that lifestyle through him, you can't expect anything other than the outcome. I know a lot of drug dealers and a lot of gangsters, they'll tell you there's three places that you end up. You end up in the hospital, you end up in a wheelchair, you end up in the morgue. Oh, I'm sorry, also in jail. That's the fourth place. You don't see old drug dealers. You don't see 80, 90-year-old drug dealers without some battle scars. So it sucks. Once again, it sucks. The person who, of all these tragedies that happen, the one person I still stand behind is, I think his name is Fernando Castillo. The guy who was sitting in the car was reaching for his paperwork to show the officer that he did have a concealed weapons permit, and the officer freaked out and shot him. Now, that is flat out. If I'm telling you I have a firearm in my car, I'm allowed to carry my firearm. You should, if you're afraid to allow me to reach for my paperwork to show you, then you should basically tell me to keep my hands on the dash, open up the door, get me out, secure the scene, and then retrieve my firearm from me, and then get the paperwork once it's justified that I can carry my firearm. Let me go about my way, because if that's the reason why you're stopping me, then according to the Constitution, you have no other reason to stop me. You have to let me go about my business. With all this evidence coming out about this case, people are still tearing shit up, and they're still in the streets, they're still rioting, they're still going crazy, even though the Attorney General of Kentucky, who is a black man, and if anybody should be trying to root out all the evils within his city or within his police departments, because he is the top cop out there, he should be trying to get that resolved. And if he's telling you that the process was done correctly, then you have to believe his word. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it when a white man tells you that it's wrong, then you riot, and when a black man tells you that it's wrong, you riot. You have to believe somebody. You can't just believe what the media is telling you, because the media is going to give you all the wrong information. Read. I had to put on my shirt again today that says it's called thinking. You should try it sometimes. You have to think about things sometimes. You really think about it. Look at everything and then come to a conclusion. I had a guy tell me yesterday when I put my link up about, and it was simply the link about the AG talking about this case, and he went on a huge rant and told me that could have been my daughter, because I do have a daughter that's about the same age, that could have been my daughter. And my response to him was, no, it can't, because my daughter doesn't date drug dealers. So that would never be my daughter. That's just my 2 cents on this whole thing. The evidence is in. Is he going to go to jail? I don't know. He may. The grand jury came up. These are the things he's going to be charged with. The justice system is going to do its part. But we have to let the justice system do its part. Tearing up our own neighborhoods doesn't help us. And I know, I even heard one person say, you know what? When you tear it up, it's not like the owner of the company is going to lose anything, because they're insured. Absolutely, they're insured. Everybody should be insured. You're insured to drive your car. But in the process of being insured, guess what? You still got to pay a deductible. They may cancel you. All the stuff that's going on right now with the situation with COVID, you may not get that money. And then if you're a black-owned company, then you're just doing the same exact thing, which is hurting another black family and not allowing them to provide for themselves and the multitude of employees that they have working for them. Whether it's 1 or 10, you're still taking food out of everybody else's mouth. It's called thinking. Try it sometime. I'm out.